Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome to another Sunday segment of Voices of Empowerment with Dr. V. Look at that. I told you. Next time that we were going to come together, we were going to have a new name. We have evolved from Divine Femininity United. Don't get me wrong. I am completely and utterly grateful for having led that particular movement and journey since 2020. It has been impactful. It has been rewarding. It has been gratifying. But I'm telling you now, we have completely and utterly evolved from just divine femininity. That is not our sole focus anymore. We have transcended, you all. We have entered into the complete oneness of all. The oneness of all. That includes divine femininity, but it also includes divine masculinity. It includes light. It includes dark. It includes right and wrong. It includes left and right. It includes all of the things. The oneness of all. The oneness. That's what we are now. Voices of empowerment with Dr. B. I'm elated. I'm excited. This was a shared feat because coming up with the name, I wanted to bounce it off of some other bright minds, and so we all came together and decided upon Voices of Empowerment, and I am very, very, very satisfied with it. I really, really am, and I hope you are too. I hope you like the facelift of our organization here, because I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, the name might change, but the mission is still what it is. We are all here together, just holding each other hand, walking each other back to our highest, most divine, most sacred self, our best self, right? Our best light, our brightest light. That's what we're here to do. And in this journey, we have conversations, we delineate, we share, we expound on, we exchange, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, the main mission here is for us to be better, better people, better spirits, better beings, better in relationships with one another, better to ourselves, better to the community, better to the world, right? Because we're all here in this time for a reason. That reason is for us to determine. That's what this walk is for. That's what this journey is for us to find out what that reason is. Why are you breathing? Why are you breathing? Why are you here? What is your life purpose to be for? There is one. It's up to you to discover it. That's why you're here. Okay, discover those purposes, because it's not just one. It's not just one. Okay, you have several purposes. It's just a matter of being aligned, being in alignment, having every one of your steps be ordered, following the leading that you feel in your heart space. Go, no matter how great or small, and in doing so, you're fulfilling purposes. Who knows? It could be to be the person to open a door for someone. It could be to, pay for someone's gas. It could be whatever it is. You have several purposes, and that is carved out specifically for your life to fulfill while in this life. Right. So I love that. I love this journey, man. I was just sitting outside right before this, kid you not, about 20 minutes ago. I always sit outside several times a day. And I'm sitting there, and I had my eyes closed, and I was just kind of grounding, preparing myself for this session here. And I just, I felt full of gratitude. I said, I love my life. I have the best life. Is everything perfectly set in order according to whose standards? According to whose standards, right? Because according to my standards, I have the best life. Everything is right where it needs to be. Everything is right where it needs to be. Everything is happening just as it should be happening. Whatever's not here is because it's not supposed to be. Whatever is here is because it is supposed to be. Whatever I have to release is because it's seasoned to be released. I'm so happy to be at this place because once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a girl named Bianca, and she was not in this headspace. Okay, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I am happy to be here. And I love my life. I have the best life. And I am so amazingly happy to even say that, to be able to say it and say it truthfully, say it with genuity, say it from my whole being, not just say it just because it sounds good. No, I adore my life. I adore my life and everything that it encompasses, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. It all works together for my good. It has always worked together for my good. It is always working together for my good, and it will always work together for my good. And because I see it that way, I love my life. I love the adventure that this life has me on. I love the understandings and the wisdoms and the lessons that it has me, that it gives to me. I love the people that it presents to me and that I'm presented to. Man, I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. Even when people have to go, I am so grateful for having experienced them. My life is all the grander as a result of having experienced them. I love my life. I love my life and every element of it, every aspect, every nucleus, every atom. I love my life, man. And I love you for sharing in my life. Thank you all so very much. We are here on several platforms, actually. We're on Clubhouse. We're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, all of the things. We're on everywhere. And I'm so grateful to you all for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And today is the first day of our new book reading. What are we reading? We are reading The Seat of the Soul, written by Gary Zukav. The Seat of the Soul. And when I tell you this book, I've heard so many things about this book, so many amazing things about this book. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Okay. This book was published back in 1999. And apparently it still got some oil on it, as my Uncle Daryl will say. That thing is oily. Okay. That anointing oil, that thing is oily, honey. Okay. And so I'm so excited to introduce this book to you, to all of us, because I've never read this book. This book, as with any other books that we've read, I've never read them before. I'm reading them with you, right? I'm excited about it. At any point that we are reading through this, any point during the reading, rather, I should say, and you hear something that stands out, use the chat. That's what it's there for. Use the comment section. That is exactly what it's there for. Okay. And I will give voice to your words. I'm going to periodically be looking back and forth from the ebook to our chat sections and things like that. No matter where you're viewing and listening from, use the chat. Okay. And I will give voice to your words. I will air and put your comment on the screen so that everyone can know what you stated and things like that, because this is a collective. It's a collective, and we're an interactive collective, okay? So, and I thank you in advance for your presence, for your words, for your outlooks, your insights. I thank you, okay? Alrighty, after this portion, after we finish reading today's segment, I'm going to invite you to send an email so that you can acquire your own copy of this book reading. We're starting it today, so you won't be missing much, okay? You can get your own copy free of charge to you. Once upon a time, I used to charge for these books, but I don't anymore because there's no reason to, right? This is my seed sown to you. Yes, I am a nonprofit organization. Yes, I am a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Yes, we are allowed to accept donations and things like that. However, although donations are welcome, they are not required for you to get the reading material. Okay. So if you have, at the end of the segment here, I'll tell you exactly how you can acquire your very own copy. But in the meantime, and in between time, we are going to begin our today's portion of our book, The Seat of the Soul, written by Gary Zukav. We're going to read the foreword and we're going to read chapter 1. Okay. Chapter 1, entitled Evolution. All right, without further ado, here we go. The foreword. During the years that I was writing The Dancing Woolly Masters, and after, I was drawn again and again to the writings of William James, Carl Jung, Benjamin Lee Whorf, Niels Bohr, and Albert Einstein. I returned to them repeatedly. I found in them something special, although it was not until later that I was able to understand that specialness. These fellow humans reached for something greater than they were able to express directly through their work. They saw more than they could express in the language of psychology or linguistics or physics, and they sought to share what they saw. It is what they sought to share through the medium of their work that drew me to them. They were mystics. That is my word. They would not use such language, but they knew it. They feared that their careers might become contaminated by association with those who did not work within the scientific model. But in the depths of their own thoughts, they each saw much too much to be limited by the five senses, and they were not. Their works contribute not only to the evolution of psychology, linguistics, and physics, but also to evolution of those who read them. They have the capability to change those who touch them in ways that also cannot be expressed directly in the terms of psychology or linguistics or physics. As I came to understand in retrospect the magnetic quality that these works held for me, I came to understand that what motivated these men was not earthly prizes or the respect of colleagues, but that they put their souls and minds on something and reached the extraordinary place where the mind could no longer produce data of the type that they wanted. And they were in the territory of inspiration where their intuitions accelerated and they knew that there was something more than the realm of time and space and matter, something more than physical life. They knew it. They could not necessarily articulate this clearly because they were not equipped to talk about such things, but they felt it and their writings reflected it. In other words, I came to understand that what motivated these men and many others was in fact something of great vision that comes from beyond the personality. Each of us is now being drawn in one way or another to that same great vision. It is more than a vision. It is an emerging force. It is the next step in our evolutionary journey. Humanity, the human species, is longing now to touch that force, to shed that which interferes with clear contact. Much of the difficulty in doing this lies in the fact that the vocabulary with which to address this new force, which is indeed the eternal force, is not yet born. In this moment and in this hour of human evolution, this proper vocabulary and means of addressing that which longs to transcend religiosity and spirituality and assume the position of authentic power is longing to be born. We need to give that which we as a species are now touching consciously for the first time a vocabulary that is not clouded so that it can be identified clearly in the acts and judgments of the human race, so that it can be seen clearly and not through veils of mystery or mysticism, but simply as the authentic power that moves the force fields of this earth of ours. I hope that this book will assist. As a way of talking about what we are and what we are becoming, I've used the terms five sensory and multisensory. Multisensory is not better than five sensory. It is simply more appropriate now. As one system of human experience winds down and another, more advanced system emerges, the older system may appear by comparison to be lacking. But from the perspective of the universe, the language of comparison is not the language of lesser or better, exactly, but of limitation and opportunity. The experiences of the multisensory human are less limited, provide more opportunities for growth and development and more opportunities to avoid unnecessary difficulties. I've contrasted the experiences of the five sensory human with the experiences of the multisensory human in each instance to make their differences as clear as possible. But this does not mean that the five sensory phase of our evolution, the phase from which we are emerging, is negative in comparison to the phase of our evolution that we are entering, the multisensory phase. It is simply that it is now no longer appropriate, just as there came a time when the use of candles became inappropriate because of electricity. But the advent of electricity did not make candles' power negative. Exactly. Who among us is an expert of the human experience? We have only the gift of sharing perspectives and perceptions that hopefully can help those on their journey. There is no such thing as an expert on the human experience. The human experience is an experience in movement and thought and form, and in some cases, an experiment in movement and thought and form. The most that we can do is comment on the movement, the thought, and the form. But those comments are of great value if they can help people to learn to move gracefully, to think clearly, and to form like artists the matter of their lives. We are in a time of deep change. We will move through this change more easily if we are able to read, see the road upon which we are traveling, our destination, and what it is that is in motion. I offer what is in this book as a window through which I have come to see life. I offer this book to you, this window to you, but I do not say that it is necessary that you accept it. There are so many ways to wisdom and to the heart. This is our greatest richness and the one that gives me the most joy. We have much to do together. Let us do it in wisdom and love and joy. Let us make this human experience. Oh, I love that. And I agree wholeheartedly with everything he just said. Okay, chapter 1, evolution. The evolution that we learned about in school is the evolution of physical form. We learned, for example, that the single-celled creatures of the oceans are the predecessors of all more complex forms of life. A fish is more complex and therefore more evolved than a sponge. A horse is more complex and therefore more evolved than a snake. A monkey is more complex and therefore more evolved than a horse, and so on, up to human beings, which are the most complex and therefore the most evolved life forms upon our planet. We were taught, in other words, that evolution means the progressive development of organizational complexity. This definition is an expression of the idea that the organism that is best able to control both its environment and all of the other organisms in its environment is the most evolved. Survival of the fittest means that the most evolved organism in a given environment is the organism that is at the top of the food chain in that environment. According to this definition, therefore, the organism that is most able to ensure its own survival, most able to serve its self-preservation, is the most evolved. We have long known that this definition of evolution is inadequate, but we have not known why. When two humans engage one another, they are, in terms of the organizational complexity, equally evolved. If both have the same intelligence, yet one is small minded, mean, and selfish, while the other is magnanimous and altruistic, we say that the one who is magnanimous and altruistic is the more evolved. If one human intentionally sacrifices his or her life to save another by, for example, using his or her own body to shield another from an unseen bullet or a speeding car, we say that that human who sacrificed his or her life indeed was one of the most evolved among us. We know these things are to be true, but they are at variance with our understanding of evolution. Jesus, we were told, foresaw the plot against his life, even to the details of how his friends would act and react. Yet he did not run from what he saw. The entirety of humankind has been inexorably shaped by the power and love of one who gave his life for others. All who revere him and almost all who but knows his story agree that he was one of the most evolved of our species. Our deeper understanding tells us that a truly evolved being is one that values others more than it values itself, and that values love more than it values the physical world and what is in it. We must now bring our understanding of evolution into alignment with this deeper understanding. It is important that we do this because our current understanding of evolution reflects the phase of evolution that we are now leaving. By examining this understanding, we can perceive how we have evolved to now and what we are now in the process of leaving behind. By reflecting upon a new and expounded understanding of evolution, one that validates our deepest truths, we can see what we are evolving into and what the means in terms of what we experience, what we value, and how we act. Mhm. Our current understanding of evolution results from the fact that we have evolved until now by exploring physical reality with our five senses. Yep. We have been, until now, five sensory human beings. This path of evolution has allowed us to see the basic principles of the universe in concrete ways. We see through our five senses that every action is a cause that has an effect, and that every effect has a cause. We see the results of our intentions. We see that rage kills, it takes away breath it takes away breath, the life force, and it seals blood, the carrier of vitality. We see that kindness nurtures. We see and feel the effects of a snarl and a smile. We experience our ability to process knowledge. We see, for example, that a stick is a tool, and we see the between siblings and between races, between classes and between sexes. It disrupts the natural tendency toward harmony between nations and between friends. The same energy that sent warships to the Persian Gulf sent soldiers to Vietnam and crusaders to Palestine. The energy that separated the family of Romeo from the family of Romeo from the family of Juliet is the same energy that separates the racial family of the black husband from the racial family of the white wife. The energy that set Lee Harvey Oswald against John Kennedy is the same energy that set Cain against Abel. Brothers and sisters quarrel for the same reason that corporations quarrel. They seek power over one another. The power to control the environment and those within it is power over what can be felt, smelled, tasted, heard, or seen. This type of power is external power. External power can be acquired or lost, as in the stock market or an election. It can be bought or stolen, transferred or inherited. It is thought of as something that can be gotten from someone else or somewhere else. One person's gain of external power is perceived as another person's loss. The result of seeing power as external is violence and destruction. All of our institutions, social, economic, and political, reflect our understanding of power as external. Families, like cultures, are patriarchal or matriarchal. One person wears the pants. Children learn this early and it shapes their lives. Police departments, like the military, are produced by the perception of power as external. Badge, boots, rank, radio, uniform, weapons, and armor are symbols of fear. Those who wear them are fearful. They fear to engage the world without defenses. Those who encounter these symbols, okay, effects of these symbols of it's a line missing there. Effects of how we choose to use them. The club that kills can drive a stake into the ground and hold a shelter. Wow. The club that kills can drive a stake into the ground and hold a shelter. Yeah. The sphere that takes a life can be used as a lever to ease life's burdens. The knife that cuts flesh can be used to cut cloth. The hands that build bombs can be used to build schools. The minds that coordinate the activities of violence can coordinate the activities of cooperation. We see that when the activities of life are infused with reverence, they come alive with meaning and purpose. We see that when reverence is lacking from life's activities, the result is cruelty, violence, and loneliness. The physical arena is a magnificent learning environment. It is a school within which, through experimentation, we come to understand what causes us to expand and what causes us to contract, what causes us to grow and what causes us to shrivel, what nourishes our souls and what depletes them, what works and what does not. When the physical environment is seen only from the five sensory point of view, physical survival appears to be the fundamental criterion of evolution because no other kind of evolution is detectable. It is from this point of view that survival of the fittest appears to be synonymous with evolution, and physical dominance appears to characterize advanced evolution. When perception of the physical world is limited to the five sensory modality, the basis of life is the physical arena. In the physical arena becomes fear. Power to control the environment and those within the environment appears to be essential. The need for physical dominance produces a type of competition that affects every aspect of our lives. It affects relationships between lovers and between superpowers, and symbols are fearful. They fear the power that these symbols represent, or they fear those whom they expect this power to contain, or they fear both. The police and the military, like patriarchal and matriarchal families and cultures, are not origins of the perception of power as external. They are reflections of the way that we as a species and as individuals have come to view power. The perception of power as external has shaped our economics. the ability to control economies within communities and within nations, and the ability to control the transnational economic of the world is concentrated in the hands of a few people. To protect workers from these people, we have created unions. To protect consumers, we have created bureaucracies and government. To protect the poor, we have created welfare systems. This is a perfect reflection of how we have to perceive power as a possession of a few, while the majority serve as its victims. Money is a symbol of external power. Those who have the most money have the most ability to control their environment and those within it, while those who have the least money have the least ability to control their environment and those within it. Money is acquired, lost, stolen, inherited, and fought for. Education, social status, fame, and things that are owned, if we derive a sense of increased security from them, are symbols of external power. Anything we fear to lose, a home, a car, an attractive body, and an agile mind, a deep belief, is a symbol of external power. What we fear is an increase in our vulnerability. This results from seeing power as external. When power is seen as external, the hierarchies of our social, economic, and political structures, as well as the hierarchies of the universe, appear as indicators of who has power and who does not. Those at the top appear to have the most power and therefore to be the most valuable and the least vulnerable. Those at the bottom appear to be the least powerful and therefore to be the least valuable and the most vulnerable. From this perception, the general is more valuable than the private. The executive is more valuable than the chauffeur. The doctor is more valuable than the receptionist. The parent is more valuable than the child. And the divine is more valuable than the worshiper. We fear to transgress our parents, our bosses, and our God. All perceptions of lesser and greater personal value result from the perception of power as external. Man, that's so true. No equality, nothing equal. It has to be this or that, up or down. Man. Whew. Competition for external power lies at the heart of all violence. The secondary gain behind ideological conflict, such as capitalism versus communism, and religious conflicts, such as Irish Catholics versus Irish Protestants, and geographical conflicts, such as Jew versus Arab, and familial and marital conflicts, is external power. The perception of power as external splinters the psyche, whether it is the psyche of the individual, the community, the nation, or the world. There's no difference between acute schizophrenia and a world at war. That's so true. There's no difference between the agony of a splintered soul and the agony of a splintered nation. When a husband and a wife compete for power, they engage the same dynamic that humans of one race do when they fear humans of another race. My God. From these dynamics, we have formed our present understanding of evolution as a process of ever-increasing ability to dominate the environment and each other. This definition reflects the limitations of perceiving the physical world with only 5 senses. It reflects the competition for external power that is generated by fear. After millennia of brutality to one another, individual to individual and group to group, it is now clear that the insecurity which underlies the perception of the power as external cannot be healed by the accumulation of external power. It is evident for all to see that not only with each newscast and evening paper, but also through each of our countless sufferings as individuals and as a species, that the perception of power as external brings only pain, violence, and destruction. This is how we have evolved until now, and this is what we are leaving behind. I know that's right. It's time. It's soul time, right? Especially in the climate that we're in right now. Mind you, this book was written and published in 1999. Okay. Our deeper understanding leads us to another kind of power, a power that loves life in every form that it appears, a power that does not judge what it encounters, a power that perceives meaningfulness and purpose in the smallest details upon earth. This is authentic power. When we align our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the highest part of ourselves. We are filled with enthusiasm, purpose, and meaning. Life is rich and full. We have no thoughts of bitterness. We have no memory of fear. We are joyously and intimately engaged with our world. This is the experience of authentic power. Authentic power has its roots in the deepest source of our being. Authentic power cannot be bought, inherited, or hoarded. An authentically empowered person is incapable of making anyone or anything a victim. An authentically empowered person is one who is so strong, so empowered that the idea of using force against another is not to tart, is not on his or her consciousness. There's typos in it. Okay. No understanding of evolution is adequate that does not have at its core that we are on a journey toward authentic power, and that authentic empowerment is the goal of our evolutionary process and the purpose of our being. We are evolving from a species that pursues external power into a species that pursues authentic power. We are leaving behind exploration of the physical world as our sole means of evolution. This means of evolution and the consciousness that results from our awareness that is limited to the five sensory modality are no longer adequate to what we must become. We are evolving from five sensory humans into multisensory humans. Our five senses together form a single sensory system that is designated to perceive physical reality. The perceptions of a multisensory human extend beyond physical reality to the larger dynamical systems of which our physical reality is a part. The multisensory human is able to perceive and to appreciate the role that our physical reality plays in a larger picture of evolution and the dynamics by which our physical reality is created and sustained. This realm is invisible to the five sensory human. It is in this invisible realm that the origins of our deepest values are found. From the perception of this invisible realm, the motivations of those who consciously sacrifice their lives for higher purposes make sense. The power of Gandhi is explicable, and the compassion acts of Christ are comprehensible in a fullness that is not accessible to the five sensory human. No, sir. All of our great teachers have been or are multisensory humans. They have spoken to us and acted in accordance with perceptions and values that reflect the larger perspective of the multisensory being, and therefore their words and actions awaken within us the recognition of truths. From the perception of the five sensory human, we are alone in a universe that is physical. From the perception of the multi-physical sensory human, we are never alone, and the universe is alive, conscious, intelligent, and compassionate. From the perception of the five sensory human, the physical world is an unaccountable given, is an unaccountable given in which we unaccountably find ourselves, and we strive to dominate it so that we can survive. From the perception of the multisensory human, the physical world is a learning environment that is created jointly by the souls that share it. Yes. And everything that occurs within it serves their learning. Yes. Oh, God. Yes. Oh, I understand this so strongly. From the perception of the five sensory human, intentions have no effects. The effects of actions are physical, and not all actions affects us or others. From the perception of the multisensory human, the intention behind an action determines its effects. Every intention affects both us and others, and the effects of intentions extend far beyond the physical world. Yes, yes. What does it mean to say that an invisible realm exists in which the origins of our deeper understandings are located? What are the implications of considering the existence of a realm that is not detectable through the five senses, but that can be known, explored, and understood by other human faculties? When a question is asked that cannot be answered within the common frame of reference, it can be classified as nonsensical, or it can be dismissed as a question that is not appropriate, or the person who is asking the question can expand his or her consciousness to encompass a frame of reference from which the question can be answered. The first two options are the easy ways out of the confrontation with the question that appears to be nonsensical or inappropriate. But the seeker, the true scientist, will allow himself or herself to expand into a frame of reference from which the answers that he or she is seeking can be understood. We, as a species, have been asking the questions. Is there a God? Is there a divine intelligence? And is there a purpose to life? For as long as we have been able to articulate questions, the time has now come for us to expand into a frame of reference that allows these questions to be answered. The larger frame of reference of the multisensory human allows an understanding of the experientially meaningful distinction between the personality and the soul. Your personality is that part of you that was born into, lives within, and will die within time. To be a human and to have a personality is the same thing. Your personality, like your body, is the vehicle of your evolution. The decisions that you make and the actions that you take upon the earth are the means by which you evolve. At each moment, you choose the intentions that will shape your experiences and those things upon which you will focus your attention. These choices affect your evolutionary process. This is so for each person. If you choose unconsciously, you evolve unconsciously. If you choose consciously, you evolve consciously. Yeah. The fearful and violent emotions that have come to characterize human existence can be experienced only by the personality. Only the personality can feel anger, fear, hatred, vengeance, sorrow, shame, regret, indifference, and exploit. Only the personality can pursue external power. The personality can also be loving, compassionate, and wise in its relations with others. But love, compassion, and wisdom do not come from the personality. They are experiences of the soul. Your soul is that part of you that is immortal. Every person has a soul, but a personality that is limited to its perception to the five senses is not aware of its soul and therefore cannot recognize the influences of its soul. That's so true. As a personality becomes multisensory, its intuitions, its hunches, and subtle feelings become important to it. Yes, it senses things about itself, other people, and the situations in which it finds itself that it cannot justify on the basis of the information of its five senses can provide. That's so true. That's so true. It comes to recognize intentions and to respond to them rather than the actions and the words that it encounters. It can recognize, for example, a warm heart beneath a harsh and angry manner, and a cold heart beneath a polished and pleasing words. Come on here. Come on here. In religion, in faith, it's that's called discernment. Okay, it can be known as intuition and all of those things. It's also known as clairvoyance and a knowing. Absolutely. When a multisensory personality looks inside itself, it finds a multitude of different currents. Through experience, it learns to distinguish between these currents and to identify the emotional, psychological, and physical effects of each. It learns, for example, which currents produce anger, divisive thoughts, and destructive actions, and which currents produce love, healing thoughts, and constructive actions. In time, it learns to value and to identify with those currents that generate creativity, healing, and love, and to challenge and release those currents that create negativity, disharmony, and violence. In this way, a personality comes to experience the energy of its soul. Your soul is not a passive or a theoretical entity that occupies a space in the vicinity of your chest cavity. It is a positive, purposeful force at the core of your being. It is that part of you that understands that impersonal nature, the impersonal nature of the energy dynamics in which you are involved, that loves without restriction and accepts without judgment. In you desire to know your soul, if you desire to know your soul, the first step is to recognize that you have a soul. The next step is to allow yourself to consider, if I have a soul, what is my soul? What does my soul want? What is the relationship between my soul and me? How does my soul affect my life? All great questions. All I have asked my soul. And I invite you to do the same. When the energy of the soul is recognized, acknowledged, and valued, it begins to infuse the life of the personality. When the personality comes fully to serve the energy of its soul, that is authentic empowerment. This is the goal of the evolutionary process in which we are involved and the reason for our being. Every experience that you have and will have upon the earth encourages the alignment of your personality with your soul. That's it. Every circumstance and situation gives you the opportunity to choose this path, to allow your soul to shine through, to bring into the physical world through you its unending and unfathomable reverence for and love of life. This is a book about authentic empowerment, the alignment of the personality with the soul, what that involves, how it happens, and what it creates. To understand these things requires an understanding of things that appear unusual to the five sensory human, but they become natural once you understand evolution. That five sensory perception is a journey leading to multi-sensory perception, and that you were not always meant to be five sensory. Yes, 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 my goodness, yes. My goodness, yes. I want to keep going. I'm in this thing here. Oh, I want to keep going, but I can't. Oh, I want to keep going, but I cannot, y'all. Whew. Okay. Well, next time. This is good. Listen, get your book. Get your book. Get your book. I cannot say it any enough. I'll say that. Get your book. Get your book. Get your book. Email me and let me know which email to send this book to. I'm telling you now, get your book. You have got to have this book. Even if you don't read along with us, read it by yourself, but get your book. Okay? Get your book. Email me at info@biancamissblee.com. Again, info@biancamissblee.com. And I will personally send this book over to you. It's a PDF ebook version for you to be able to pull up from your email address at any point, at any time, during your lunch break, at the end of the night, first thing in the morning. If you want to have a chapter reading, it's up to you. Get the book. Again, it is free of charge to you. Okay, I am a nonprofit organization. You can donate. We do welcome donations, but it is not required for you to have this book. Get the book. Okay. Alrighty. Listen, if you all want to take advantage of some of my offers, some of my services, my book, merchandise, things like that, workshops that I'm a part of, actually also be looking for different workshops. I have collaborated with several people. My goodness, they have reached out to me within the last few weeks, and we're working on projects and working on workshops and things that's going to be taking place throughout the year. You all don't want to miss it. So be sure to stay in touch. Stay in touch. Sign up for the newsletter so you can get the newsletter and be abreast of things that go out monthly. I send out a monthly newsletter. Listen, so you all can stay connected to what's going on. You do not want to miss the phenomenon that is happening throughout 2025. Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. Okay. Listen, you all, this has been amazing. Follow me on socials too. All Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, wherever. I am under Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. Okay. Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. Listen, you all, this it for today. That was pretty fast. We went through the introduction, which is Gary Zukav's letter to us. And we went through chapter 1, evolution. The next chapter, you all, is called karma. Karma. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. This book here, I have there's a reason why certain books come to me to share with you all. And they are always on time, always right on time. I don't care how old this book is. It always comes right on time so that we can share and go through this thing together in such a way that opens us up. It readies us for our next level, our next phase. My goodness, even our now, this is beautiful. Beautiful. I am here for it. Listen, you all. Again, we are reading through the amazing book, The Seat of the Soul. We just finished the introduction and we just finished the first chapter, Evolution. Okay. When we come back here on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be going over chapters 2 and possibly chapter 3, depending on what type of time we're going to be on, because I don't like to keep you all long on Tuesday nights because it's already in the evening. So we might just stick with the one chapter each, because this is a lot to chew on. Okay, this book I really do believe is going to give us a whole lot to chew on, and we're going to have to kind of sit, meditate on it, kind of answer the questions, ask the questions, because he gave some questions now to ask the soul. He gave some questions. This is going to be so good. For those of you all who have yet to connect with the soul part of you, this is going to be a huge rediscovery for yourself. And I say rediscovery because you've known you, right? Because it's you. This is you. But it's just being in this 5 sensory realm, being this 5 sensory human being. And it's caused us to kind of, lose a lot of us and just simply become what we were programmed to be. And this book is going to journey us through unlearning to remember. Unlearning to remember. Remember, one word, but then remember, 2 words. Remember, like member. Bring your members back together. Recollect. Recollect, yes, but recollect. Collect your parts again. Bring them back to the center. Bring them back to you. Bring them back to oneness. Yeah. I love this for all of us. All of us. Now, there are some parts of this that I have done, but I will continue to do, okay? Because there's no, as long as I'm here, living and breathing, there's still evolution to be done. There's still evolving happening. There's still stories being written. Every single moment of every single day is more story. It's more curating, okay? I am here for it. I'm here for it. Yes, I am. And I am glad that you are here with me, okay? Once again, we will be back here on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Voices of Empowerment with Dr. B. Listen, you all, I love you. I mean it. There is absolutely, positively nothing you can do about it. Don't you even try it. We'll see you back here on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Voices of Empowerment with Dr. B. Peace.